These floating cities carry more firepower than most nations own in total. 10 aircraft carriers that redefined what naval power actually means. Here is every one of them ranked. Carrier 10 Charles de Gaulle. France operates one aircraft carrier. Just one. And the decision to make that single ship nuclear-powered was deliberate and consequential. The Charles de Gaulle stretches 261 metres and displaces 42,000 tonnes, construction beginning in 1989 at the DCS shipyard in Toulon before the ship entered service in 2001. Two K-15 nuclear reactors power it with virtually no range limitations, meaning France can deploy this platform anywhere on Earth without worrying about refueling schedules that constrain conventionally powered vessels. What separates the Charles de Gaulle from most non-American carriers is its C-8 OBAR steam catapult system, the same launch technology used on American carriers. Where most nations rely on ski jumps that restrict takeoff weight and therefore combat range and weapons load, France launches its Dassault Rafale M fighters with full fuel and full weapons complement. E-2C Hawkeye early warning aircraft and NH-90 helicopters complete the 40 aircraft air wing. Carrier 9 INS Vikrant. The INS Vikrant represents something beyond a warship. It represents proof. Construction began in 2009. The ship was launched in 2013 and officially entered service with the Indian Navy on September 2, 2022, making it the first aircraft carrier built entirely within India. The investment exceeded $3.2 billion United States dollars, and every rupee of it carried symbolic weight as a declaration of indigenous naval manufacturing capability that India had been building toward for decades. At 262 metres long, with a full displacement of 45,000 tonnes, 4 General Electric LM2500 plus gas turbines drive it to approximately 28 knots. The STOBAR system uses a ski jump for takeoff and braking cables for landing, accommodating up to 36 aircraft and helicopters. MiG-29K fighters currently form the primary combat air wing, with future replacement by more advanced platforms under active consideration. Ka-31, HAL Druv and MH-60R helicopters handle anti-submarine and rescue missions. Barak 8 and AK. 630 close-in weapon systems provide defensive coverage for a crew of 1,700. India now operates 2 active carriers simultaneously, a naval capability that places it in a category only the largest military powers occupy. Carrier 8, HMS Queen Elizabeth. The HMS Queen Elizabeth is the flagship of the Royal Navy and the largest warship Britain has ever built. 280 metres long with a full displacement of 65,000 tonnes, construction began in 2009. The ship was launched in 2014 and it entered service in 2017 alongside its sister ship, Prince of Wales. The price tag reached £7.6 billion, an investment that reflected Britain's decision to restore full carrier strike capability after years of operating without it. Conventional diesel engines and gas turbines provide power to approximately 25 knots. The ST Oval launch system uses a ski jump but carries no catapults or braking cables, which concentrates the air wing around aircraft capable of short takeoff and vertical landing. The F-35B Lightning II is the centerpiece of that capability, a 5th-generation stealth fighter operating from a platform that gives Britain the ability to project credible air power anywhere in the world's oceans. Carrier 7 INS Vikramaditya. The INS Vikramaditya began its existence as the Admiral Gorshkov, a Soviet Kiev-class heavy aircraft cruiser built in the 1980s under the original name Baku. India purchased the ship from Russia in 2004 and sent it to the Severodvinsk shipyard for a multi-year modernization program that removed the original missile armament entirely and rebuilt the vessel exclusively for flight operations. The reconstruction took years longer than originally planned and cost considerably more than the initial estimates. INS Vikramaditya entered service with the Indian Navy in November 2013. At 284 meters long, displacing 45,000 tons, the ship operates 36 aircraft using the STOBAR ski jump and braking cable system. MiG-29K carrier-based fighters form the primary strike element, with Kamov Ka-31 and HAL Druve helicopters providing supporting capability. AK 630 cannons and Barrack 1 missile systems handle close-in defense for a crew of approximately 1,700, including flight personnel. Carrier 6, Admiral Kuznetsov. The Admiral Kuznetsov is the sole aircraft carrier in the Russian Navy and one of the most troubled warships in active service anywhere in the world. 305 meters long with a full displacement of 65,000 tons. It was launched in 1985 and entered service in 1991 after accumulating several name changes during construction, including a period as the Leonid Brezhnev. Steam turbines fired with heavy fuel oil provide propulsion, a system that generates the characteristic black smoke visible in most photographs of the ship underway and contributes to the persistent mechanical reliability problems that have defined its service history. What distinguishes the Kuznetsov from Western carriers is its dual identity as both aircraft carrier and missile cruiser. P-700 Granite anti-ship missiles give it an offensive surface strike capability that American carriers do not carry, reflecting a Soviet design philosophy that treated carrier aviation as one component of a weapons platform rather than the primary mission. Carrier 5 Liaoning. China purchased the unfinished Soviet carrier Varyag from Ukraine in 1998 for approximately $20 million, officially describing it as a floating casino intended for Macau. The actual intention was the foundation of China's entire carrier aviation program. Years of reconstruction and modernization followed before Liaoning entered service in 2012 as China's first operational aircraft carrier and the sole Type Dou-1 platform. 306 meters long with a displacement of 65,000 tons, conventional steam turbines provide power in contrast to American nuclear propulsion. The STOBAR ski jump system limits takeoff weight and therefore combat range and weapons load compared to catapult-equipped competitors, a constraint that shaped the operational doctrine built around it. 50 aircraft and helicopters, including J-15 fighters and Z-18 and Z-9 helicopters, operate from the deck alongside HQ-10 missile systems and Type 1130 close-in weapon systems. Carrier 4 Shandong. The Shandong entered service with the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy in December 2019 as the first aircraft carrier fully designed and constructed within China. 315 meters long with a displacement of 70,000 tons. Its design draws on the Liaoning experience, but improves upon it in ways that reflect everything Chinese naval engineers learned from operating the first ship. Conventional steam turbines provide propulsion in the same configuration as its predecessor. 50 aircraft, primarily J-15 fighters and helicopters, operate from a STOBAR ski jump configuration alongside Type 1130 30mm close-in weapon systems and HQ-10 missile systems. A crew of 2,500 sailors and aviation personnel operates the platform. The Shandong extended China's carrier strike capability from a single experimental platform to a genuine two-carrier fleet capable of simultaneous operations in different regions. Carrier 3 Fujian. The Fujian, designated CV-18 and classified as Type 003, was launched in June 2022 and represents the most significant leap forward in Chinese carrier technology to date. 316 meters long, with a displacement estimated at 85,000 tons, it is currently completing sea trials with entry into service planned for around 2025 to 2026. Conventional propulsion distinguishes it from American nuclear carriers, but the launch system changes everything else about the comparison. The Fujian is the first Chinese carrier and only the second carrier outside the United States equipped with an electromagnetic aircraft launch system, EMALs, replacing the ski jump that limited both predecessor ships. That catapult technology allows heavier aircraft to launch with full fuel and full weapons loads, dramatically increasing combat range and strike effectiveness compared to STOBAR operations. 60 aircraft and helicopters will operate from the deck, including modern J-15B fighters and potentially fifth-generation J-35 platforms in future deployments. Carrier 2, Nimitz class. The Nimitz class represents 10 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers that collectively define American naval dominance across 5 decades of continuous service. Each ship measures 333 meters long with a full displacement exceeding 100,000 tons. The lead ship, Nimitz, entered service in 1975, named for Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, commander of the Pacific Fleet during the Second World War. The final ship of the class, the George H.W. Bush, was commissioned in January 2009. Until the Gerald R. Ford joined the fleet in 2017, the Nimitz-class ships held the distinction of being the largest warships ever constructed and operated. 2 A4W nuclear reactors power each ship with virtually unlimited operational range, enabling speeds exceeding 30 knots. Carrier 1 Gerald R. Ford. The Gerald R. Ford is the largest warship ever built and the most technologically advanced aircraft carrier currently in service anywhere in the world. 337 meters long, displacing over 100,000 tons, it was launched on November 11, 2013 at Newport News Shipyard and entered service with the United States Navy on July 22, 2017, replacing the decommissioned Enterprise. Named for the 38th President of the United States, it is the first of the new Gerald R. Ford class planned to carry American naval aviation forward for the next half-century. 2 A1B nuclear reactors provide propulsion beyond 30 knots. The EM-OLIS electromagnetic launch catapult system replaced the steam catapults used on Nimitz-class ships, enabling a greater number of aircraft launches and recoveries per day with a smaller crew. 75 aircraft and helicopters, including FA-18E/F Super Hornets and F-35C stealth fighters, operate from its deck. A crew of 4,600 operates the ship, fewer personnel than Nimitz-class carriers, despite greater capability. A deliberate design outcome reflecting advances in automation and systems integration. 10 carriers. 10 different answers to the same question of what naval power projection actually requires in the modern world. From France's single nuclear ship to China's rapid 3-carrier progression to the American fleet that has defined maritime dominance for 70 years, every vessel on this list tells a story about national ambition, industrial capability, and the strategic decisions that shape the world's oceans. Drop a comment telling us which carrier surprised you most. Subscribe, because the next generation of naval technology makes everything on this list look like the beginning of something much larger.